Welcome, 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 you friggin' frickers. Good friggin' morning, gosh darn it. Yeah, we're back at it again. Back at it with another one. We are 17 days from my competing at 2025 IPF Classic World Championship in Chemnitz, Germany, Deutschland. And the vibes are palatable. You taste that? Tastes like iced tea and regret. So the nerves and anxiousness a little bit when I start thinking about it are there for sure. So it's a balancing act of trying to use that as fuel, but not let it, influence me to make any poor decisions in training. I was kind of laughing. I watched the Sabato Sessions podcast of the top 3 nominated 120s. Devin Williams, Nojo, and Etienne. And Rondell Hunt was on there too, as kind of like the unofficial strongest guy in the 120s, maybe of ever. And it was such an interesting experience because, like I said before, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to that, because I think historically it's made me kind of feel like, like inadequate, insufficient, But it was interesting watching it this time, especially because I had that day where I was just really living my delusion fantasy, and I was like, I could win this thing. And then these guys are talking about 980 to 1,000 probably is going to be, where they're going to be hitting. And whether or not that's the case, I don't know. I think we all often go in with these big expectations for, huge international meets, and most of the time you fall a little short of that at something like Worlds, right? But, let's say the average sort of standard deviation holds. That still puts winning totals somewhere between 960 to 970, I would guess. And with my magic Christmas land projection being 940-ish, unicorn magic birthday land, probably 940-ish. I'm like, oh, okay. So, there's realistically, a few of the guys would have to not make weight or something for me to win. But I think in some ways that was kind of freeing, because I think as soon as I said that and was like, oh man, I could win, I felt a lot of that pressure. And I started thinking about a lot of that pressure and being like, oh man, this might be my last time as 120. What if, oh my God, that'd be crazy. And just really running through all these wild scenarios in my head. But hearing those totals and thinking about how mine likely stacks up kind of put me back in the headspace of okay, well, let's just get the best training we can get in. Let's push nice and hard, ride that line of, giving her, but not giving her too hard, if you know what I mean, right? You're gonna go out there and give her, but you can't just give her, otherwise you're never gonna be able to get her done. So yeah, I think putting that out of my head and going back to yeah, it's realistic that I think I could snake onto the podium still. If my pull shows up, I have a big day, somebody misses a key lift, yeah, for sure, I could be in the mix. But I don't think I'm gonna be vying for first. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of a freeing thing to think. because I can just kind of go back to focusing on me. I think when you're in those top positions, you really do kind of by necessity have to think more about the other competitors. And that's full circle moment here. That's not really the best thing for my mental state, especially on game day. If I look back at my best meets, a lot of those meets I just had no idea what was going on until it came down to deads. You know, like I wasn't really paying attention, or at least wasn't doing the math. That's one thing about being kind of like, you know, being able to channel strong dumb guy energy on the day is like, if I'm wearing my coach hat, I'm doing subtotals with every possible outcome, thinking about like all the different jumps, people's training, like all that kind of stuff. If I put my, you know, big dumb guy energy on, put that hat on as a lifter, which I often do, like I'll look and be like, oh yeah, cool, he hit a good squat, that's good. Oh, went 2 for 3 on the bench, nice. And just like can stop myself from thinking any further past that when I'm looking at my opponent's, you know, score on the meet day, or when I'm looking at the score sheet. Thank you. So totally lost my train of thought. Anyways, being able to put that stuff out of my head is good. And my best meets, I've been able to put that stuff out of my head, and then maybe for the last deadlift, I'm like, oh, okay, this is for all the marbles, you know? Get that extra little boost. But if I'm distracted thinking about like, oh man, I'm like, you know, I'm out of it already or whatever. Like even the day that I competed against Rich at Westerns, after his third squat, I was like, oh man, I'm out of this. Like there's no way I come back from here, you know? And realistically, you know, if they hadn't made some like very critical errors with their attempt selection, I probably wouldn't have. But that's that thing again, right? Like you can absolutely beat lifters who are stronger than you, right? Like within reason. I think that sometimes the lifters who like put up the biggest numbers in training and, you know, have the most hype going in, you know, they don't end up winning. And I say sometimes, not most of the time, not often, but sometimes, right? Sometimes it's just the consistent lifter who's able to put together their shit on meet day, understand their, you know, limits and know their body well enough to know that they have 5 and not 7.5. And, you know, making 5 is better than missing 7.5, 10 times out of 10. So, you know, there's definitely room for better lifters to beat stronger lifters. And I think that's a really important point that, you know, maybe people don't give enough credit to. Today, we're going to do some pause squats, some paused deadlifts, and some kind of bench. I'm going to guess probably like high rep close grip again. But also the vlogs have kind of gotten a little less consistent because, you know, training is ramping up. I'm trying to keep focused on my big sessions, and honestly, I got the opportunity to train with my wife on Monday, and I just wanted to do that. So I didn't text Dylan to see if he wanted to vlog, because I was like, I just want to go train with Selena because I really enjoy that, and we really don't get the opportunity to train together very often. And when we first started dating and hanging out, a lot of it was training together. So it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy being able to spend time with her like that. So I just, was like, I'm gonna be selfish today and take this, and the vlog can get a repeat of pause squats and pause deadlifts. But you can see my exact progression from pause squat to pause squat. Shout outs to the new Gogol Bordello SBD launch. The Start Wearing Purple launch. Start wearing purple for me now. These shorts are comfy AF. The training shirt is really nice. I like the material. I gotta be honest, I don't think that purple's my color. I don't think I like rock it super well. I'm gonna keep trying because it's really comfy and it's getting really hot and having this like really breathable fabric is very nice for a larger gentleman like myself. But yeah, I think the like purple on purple isn't the most flattering for my, I don't know, shape, skin tone, multicolored, tattooed body. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So I got some of that stuff to mess with. I think it looks great. I like it. I was really hoping. I misread on the back of the off-white shirt. I saw an O and I was like, oh man, they did an oversized shirt. They did another oversized shirt. Because they did one in the gray and orange. And that was, I think, maybe one of my favorite things that SPD's done was that oversized shirt. Like the fit on that was just perfect. And I thought they did that like very subtly like off-white kind of purpley gray. I thought that one was in the oversized cut and I was so stoked. And then I put it on and I was like, man, they changed this oversized fit. Like, what the hell? This just fits like a normal t-shirt. And then I realized that it wasn't an oversized t-shirt. It was never intended to be. And I had a little sad about it. But yeah, I think that purple looks really good on some people. And shit's comfy. My comp day, though, this week, I can tell you a little bit about that because we did it on Monday and it went really well. So last weekend, after this session last week, which was the last vlog, my knee, like even in the session, like my knee was hurting, which is unusual. I haven't actually had knee pain during lifting in quite some time. So to have that flare up to that extent, I was like, oh, this isn't great. But you know, we ended up getting Friday and Saturday's training sessions were both like upper body only, right? Like, I think Friday was like 2 or 3 sets of 3 count pause bench, done. Saturday's session was close grip incline and some back work. And then back on Monday, lower body was good to go again, feeling pretty good. Feeling okay going in after my Monday session, so I'm hoping I can get a little more consistent lower body work this week. But given that, you know, Monday still went quite well, I'm not too worried. Even if it flares up again, I got to take, you know, a couple upper body only days, and maybe that's the rhythm of this block is, you know, I get my 2 SBD days instead of 3 or 4, just because intensity's higher or whatever it is, wear and tear from the last block being pretty big. I still got a good solid 320, not my best 320 on Monday, but a pretty good one. I think I've been very much riding the line with depth because that is a successful strategy for me. Often I find myself, my first attempt, I dunk it. I go like too deep. It feels hard. My second attempt, I dunk it as well and it feels really hard. So we go up a small amount. And then I hit my third attempt and I like subconsciously am, you know, a little anxious, a little worried, and feels like I cut it high. And then I get three white lights. So I think my like, oh, I feel like I cut it high is just me being a little tighter and I'm still at good depth. So I've been playing around with that. And then I also watched a couple squats and was like, ooh, like we're pretty on the line. Maybe I'll try to give it a little more depth or push for that extra, like, you know, half inch. And then Monday, I think I got a little loose and just kind of didn't squat as well as I can. But we hit a 320, we hit a 192.5 bench, and it was at least a half RPE better than 190 the previous week, right? Top singles prescribed at an 8.5, and it felt like maybe 7.5, maybe 8, somewhere in there. Way better pause than a lot of my bench work I've been doing, so I was happy with that. Shoulders feeling good, even with like close grip incline stuff. Pushing friggin' like 85% AMRAPs or whatever. It still annoys me how piss poor I am at bench reps sometimes, but top end seems to be going up, so whatever. And then pulled 352.5. And that was the best my grip has felt in a long time. So I was ecstatic about that because I have been a little self-conscious about the grip lately. I've been a little worried, like, oh man, it feels like around this like 345, 350 range, like I can kind of feel it's not 100%. And that was worrying to me, right? Because it's like, well, I got to pull at least 30, 40 kilos more than this in meat, right? Like, I'm going to have to go heavier. So if this is already feeling a little insecure at 340, 350, like, that's not good. But then pulling that 352, and if you watch the video on Instagram, I held it and held it and held it and held it because I was like, oh yeah, no, she's locked. Like, it wasn't going anywhere. So that felt good to feel like my grip is peaked. You know what I mean? And it was also weird because I've never really had that before. I've never really had that, like, oh, my hook grip doesn't feel super secure. So it was a little weird to be experiencing that, but I think there was a long period of time where I didn't do any deadlift singles, which meant I probably wasn't hooking anything for a number of months, which, hey, turns out you don't use it, you lose it. Makes perfect sense. But yeah, felt really good to get that more locked in. And yeah, we got one more week next week, and then the following Monday or Tuesday, I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know. Actually, I do know exactly when I'll be back again. I'll be back on the 23rd. That's when I come back. I do know. I've planned. I've booked the trip. Anyways, I think that's it. That is all for today. Feeling good? Let's do this thing.
Did you pinch it? What did you do?
Oh, fuck.
What did you do?
I was holding the plate and my thumb just like popped out of place.
Just holding it?
Yeah. Well, I had it like this, I had it pinched, and then my thumb just like gave out and snapped backwards. Like that. Lift was really good. Felt quite encouraging. Squats actually felt a little tough, but I think if I watched them back, that's kind of a thing with me in squats. So they often feel like a decent bit harder than they look, and then they maybe are. Deadlifts pauses felt real smooth, honestly. I didn't notice much of a difference from my last warm up around like 150 and the top triple at 285. I was pretty tired by that point. I was starting to get very, very breathy, as you can probably tell in the footage. I kind of slammed through the last little bit of my lift because I had a meeting. I thought I had a meeting at noon. And then was kind of like, oh, shoot. I'm warming up for squats and it's 10:30. I got to get an SPD plus accessories session done in an hour and a half. So here we go. So moved pretty quick, but I think that's probably good. Not only do I think it's maybe a slight competitive advantage to be in better cardiovascular shape, despite, being a bigger guy, being a powerlifting athlete, where, cardiovascular capacity is not necessarily the number one quality that's key to my expression of my skill in sport, but being able to recover if we end up in a short flight, somebody, a couple lifters bomb, a couple people pull out, somebody doesn't make weight, my session in 2020 nationals, when I pulled and squatted 400, was I think like 5 lifters by the end of it. And probably one of the reasons that I was able to have still a really good quality performance was the fact that I was used to, moving things along pretty damn quick. My buddy Ben was there wrapping my knees, and a lot of times in training, he would come in after work and like he wasn't lifting at the time. He would just be there to wrap my knees. So he would kind of like encourage me as well and be like, all right, man, like timer's up. Let's go. Because I think, we had discussed it ahead of time and I was like, yeah, I don't want to rest more than like 5 or 6 minutes at most between these like equipped squat singles, which for equipped squat singles, that's quick. But what I've been doing the last little while, and it's been actually not last little while, for the last quite a while, a lot of the times when I get to the end of my session, I will kind of, superset through some of my final exercises if I have the jam. Sometimes I'm just friggin' tired and it's not going to happen. But if I have the jam, or if I have something I'm looking forward to doing afterwards, or, Monday, again, I was in the gym, I got to train with Selena, and I was like, I don't want to spend all day in the gym. Like, I want to get on with my day, because Monday's like my Sunday, kind of. It's like my one day I don't work in the week. So I was excited to get out of the gym and just, again, kind of like just slam through the last few exercises, and it gets the heart rate up, gets the lungs going. And I don't think that there's a lot in powerlifting that does that, especially if you train like you're a stereotypical powerlifter and rest like 12 minutes between sets. And I've probably gone on the tirade before about how important I think it is that you're not resting like a number of minutes between warm-up sets, right? And for anybody who hasn't heard it, here we go. I think it's so unnecessary to, squat the bar and then rest before you squat 70 kilos and then rest before you squat 120. Like in my case, right? I'm working up to whatever. I'm probably not doing anything work-wise until at least 260. So if I rest before like 220, I think that's honestly just a waste of time. And I don't think it's necessary. I think it might feel bad to speed up your warm-ups if you're not used to it, but I bet you that doesn't last more than like a week, right? Because that shouldn't be that hard, right? That shouldn't be that hard to go through, working up to like 65, 70% on the bar. Like, you shouldn't need more rest than the time to load or unload the plates. And I'll stand by that. But yeah, I think having that cardiovascular capacity as a bigger guy, like somebody in the 120s who's been here for a bit, like, being a bigger bodied person is a little harder on the organs, It's a little harder on the joints, a little harder on a number of different aspects of your body. Like, it's a bit more wear and tear. And I think having even a modicum more cardiovascular capacity by, putting in some effort here and there, I think will probably go a long ways towards a number of like health markers and longevity and that kind of stuff. So, I don't get out and hike anymore. I don't, I'm not playing like rec league soccer or any of that kind of stuff at this point, because this body is pretty friggin' specialized for a very narrow scope of things at this point. 13 however many years of training and competing for these 3 lifts. So if I can milk a little bit more, work for my lungs and heart out of it without impacting my training negatively, which I strongly believe that you can, right? Like, if you're doing a set of 8 or 2 sets of 8 or whatever, feet up bench, and then, pull downs and some tricep work or something, like, you can't tell me you can't superset that stuff and not have massive impact, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems like kind of a no-brainer to me, I think, like, sprain my thumb a little bit. Strain, not sure. But I was carrying a plate, and I don't know if Dylan got footage of it or not, if it was in the vlog or not. We'll find out when it eventually comes out. But I was carrying a plate, and my thumb just, like, snapped out of position. And it was something I used to be able to do, like, intentionally. I kind of popped that joint of my thumb in and out, or, like, whatever the right term is for that. But I haven't been able to, and I haven't done that for a lot of years. And I think have built, less laxity in my joints and less ability to move in the tendons and ligaments and whatever else. And then carrying a 25-pound plate, it just like went and popped right out of place, and then right back in. And now it's just feeling very, very sensitive, tender, maybe a little bit swollen, pretty sore. So, I don't know. It hurt a lot, but I really don't think there's going to be any lasting impact whatsoever. I don't foresee this having any real, like, issue, I was able to bench today. That was fine. I put my thumbs behind the bar in the squat, so that shouldn't matter much. And when it comes to the deadlift, like, yeah, I hook grip, but like I was telling Dylan, I'm like, worst case scenario, it hurts to hook grip. And I don't know, newsflash, it always hurts to hook grip. So I don't need my thumb to be strong. I'm not trying to hold on to it. I just wedge it in there and clamp down on it, right? Like, it'll be okay. But yeah, that was really weird. I haven't had anything like that happen in a long time. So, knock on wood, that's the worst of it. But yeah, overall good session. Felt pretty good. Knee's feeling still okay. I didn't get any pain or like warning shots from the knee today, which makes me think hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more lower body training stimulus in this week, even if it's just some leg press. Maybe I'm not getting the more comp specific stuff in. We'll see how, recovery metrics are and stuff, but at least if I can get a little bit of leg press and, some of that kind of stuff. The other thing I think that has been really helping has been doing some additional movement stuff on off days. For me, that usually consists of, like, maybe some couch stretches. I find doing some couch stretches and stretching that hip flexor tends to relieve some of the stiffness in my knee and through my hips and stuff. I sit a lot. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in like posture or muscles getting short and tight, because there's really no reason to believe that any of that is the way that things work. But anecdotally, I'll take it. Right? If I do that stretch and my knee feels a little bit better, I'm friggin' doing that stretch. I'm way less concerned about the mechanics of it or the why. But yeah, couch stretch, just doing some like body weight squats, move my knee through a full range of motion. Ironically, sitting in this like driving posture seems super relieving for my knee. I don't know why. I think it's because my knee is like above my hip, right? So in theory, the elevation, I don't know, maybe reduces some of the swelling or something. But it seems like I can get in the car in the morning and be like, oof, my knee's a little swollen, a little stiff today. And then by the time I'm done driving to the gym, I'm like, oh, my knee feels pretty damn good. Single leg RDLs are another one that I swear by. I think they're a super good tool for like gauging how agreeable my knee is for the day, right? Because you can really kind of modulate and pivot between like, okay, I'm going to push back more on my heel, I'm going to get more hip hinge, versus okay, I'm going to let the knee forward, I'm going to let the quad do a little bit more work, just by thinking about pressure on your foot while you're doing it. And if you go to kind of like, okay, we got to the end range of motion for the hip, now let's see how much knee flexion we can get comfortably. And then on, rep 2 and 3, we try to get a little bit more knee flexion. And by the end of some of that, it tends to feel pretty good. So that's part of why you see me doing those in spam calling me. The only spam calls I get are from my cell phone provider themselves. But yeah, I use those in my warm up, and I think doing them on my off days tends to help. The motion is the lotion, as it were. So a lot of times just moving stuff around, not necessarily under load, but just getting it moving, trying not to sit so still all the dang time. Which, I don't know, a lot of the things I like to do tend to involve sitting pretty still. Other than lifting, right? Sit and play Magic cards. Sit and play video games. Maybe just got to get a sit-stand desk so I can be a little more back and forth on that. But that's it for today. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for following along with this all, and hope you're enjoying it and getting something out of it. And we'll see you next time.